roll around like that. But I'm 88 and I was afraid I'd show him up. You may be familiar with the late Walt, I think he's late, anyway, Walt Kelly's cartoon series about Pogo. Pogo dispenses homespun philosophy and social satire, and through his comic character, Pogo. And he's famous for his one-liners, and I'm going to paraphrase one of those one-liners for this occasion. The one I'm going to paraphrase is, "Winning isn't everything, but losing is nothing." Anyway, my paraphrase is, "Surviving isn't everything, but not surviving is absolutely nothing." Anyway, I don't mean to make light of this survival business. I've really enjoyed the last 3 years. But I know, looking around this room, I know there are many survival stories. But mine begins with what is considered a very simple surgery. I had a pacemaker implanted close to my heart. And this is the pacemaker. And it's probably obsolete right now. Hopefully I can have it for a while. It began with this simple surgery, and about one evening a week later, I started getting terrible throat pains, really intense. And I have the good fortune to live next door to my friend and neighbor, Janelle Larry Doyle. So I called Janelle and said, "I think I ought to go to the ER." And she hesitated just a minute and said, "I'm on my way." Actually, she was serving up Larry's 80th birthday dinner, and she never got back to it. But once she took me to the ER, and once I got there, I passed out. And the ER crowd and the cardiac team really hustled, and pretty soon, Dr. Geip, who is, I guess, head of the service, cardiac services for our hospital, told me what was going on. And I could tell by his face that I wasn't going to like it. And he explained that this thing actually is supposed to have wires coming from it. And the one they implanted did. And one of them sort of ran amok, poked a hole in the wall of my heart, which let blood flow out of the heart into the sac around the heart. And this was aggravated because I'd been taking a blood thinner. And he explained that this could be repaired. It was sort of a complicated surgery, and it could be fatal. And of course, that got my attention. He said that because our hospital isn't equipped for this type of surgery, I was going to be shortly helicoptered over to Seattle. At that time, the hospital was Virginia Mason, and that's where I went. In the meantime, Janelle, I think, had the good sense to call my family and let them know about this. One of my children's in Alaska, one is in Washington, D.C., and one's in Manhattan. So it took a while to get them around here. Once I got in Seattle, they got me all ready for this surgery. Then the doctor said, "You know, I think I'll hold off a bit." And that hold off lasted for 6 days. And it really wasn't bad, I was in sort of a medical induced la la land. I had all three of my kids all together, and that was fun. It was, at one time, I overheard my son from Alaska, who was a pulmonary doc, say to my daughter, you know, I couldn't get a plane out of Fairbanks, so I had to hitch a ride on a cargo plane. And when they let me off in Seattle, they went off with all my luggage. And he said, my only suit is in there. And I thought, why does Ty Moffitt need a suit? Then I remember Dr. Guy saying, fatal. Anyway, I lay there for about 6 days, and on the 6th day, which 6 days sounds sort of like the biblical creation story, Dr. Fellows, who was the head of that team, burst through the room and said, by God, I think your heart is healing itself. Those are sweet words. He explained that a clot had formed around this wire and sort of plugged it so that the blood wasn't flowing anymore. And you know that plug, that clot is there to this day, I hope. Anyway, I wonder if there's anything to be learned from all this. You know, we don't think hospital, or we don't go around thinking hospital, unless you need to go there. But you really, really think hospital if you need emergency care or urgent care. Trust me on that one. Anyway, he, where am I? But we do have this wonderful hospital here with the staff, the doctors and nurses are constantly updating. And the hospital has to constantly update not only the building, but also try to acquire all of the state-of-the-art equipment. And that's where the foundation comes in. And we're really working on it. You know, it's nice to know that Seattle is just a few hours away, but in the end, our medical care starts right here, and I'm very grateful.